from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
Bringing you the news from Sri Lanka and across the world, it's your national news broadcast on Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation. I am Siobhan Pereira.
And I'm Delanjali Ananda, and here's top stories for tonight. Specialist doctors say that the risk level of the new COVID variant is low. The new High Commissioner to Sri Lanka presents his credentials to the President. New secretaries appointed to 10 ministries. Under the Operation Yukthia, assets worth over 2.9 billion rupees taken into police custody. Special train and bus services in place for the festive season. Former Prime Minister Imran Khan is granted bail.
In your local news, in a diplomatic ceremony held at the Presidential Secretariat, the newly appointed High Commissioner of India to Sri Lanka, His Excellency Santosh Jha, presented his credentials to President Ranil Wickremesinghe, marking the official commencement of his tenure in Sri Lanka. His most recent assignment prior to the Sri Lankan posting was at the Embassy of India in Brussels, where he served from July 2020 until December 2023. Jha was the experience of serving as a member of the negotiating teams for free trade agreements with Sri Lanka and the European Union respectively. As the new High Commissioner of India to Sri Lanka, Santosh Jha is poised to further strengthen the bilateral ties between India and Sri Lanka, fostering cooperation and collaboration in various domains. The newly appointed Indian High Commissioner to Sri Lanka, Santosh Jha, conveyed in the guest book of President Ranil Wickremesinghe that India and Sri Lanka share deep-rooted bonds in history, geography, culture and people-to-people ties. He highlighted the growth of ties in political, economic and security fields over decades, emphasizing India's role as Sri Lanka's close neighbor, largest trade partner and a key development partner. Jha expressed his commitment to strengthening the special friendship between the two countries, fostering close collaboration in trade, investment, energy, connectivity and other areas. He aligned his goals with the vision statement agreed upon by the leaders of both nations, expressing confidence in their cooperation will lead to shared prosperity, progress and regional stability. The High Commissioner thanked President Wickremesinghe for the warm welcome and looked forward to constructive engagements in the future. Minister of Health and Industries Dr. Ramesh Patirana, who is the current acting Foreign Minister, and President Secretary Samaneka Nayaka were present at this occasion. President Ranil Wickremesinghe has made significant administrative changes with appointment of new secretaries to 10 ministries and the assignment of 2 chief secretaries to 2 provinces.
These appointments are slated to become effective from January 1st, 2024. Among the notable appointments are Vasant Pereira, who will serve as the Secretary of the Ministry of Education, and N.M. Ranasinghe, appointed as the Secretary of the Ministry of Justice, Prisons and Constitutional Reforms. Additionally, Gunadasa Samarasinghe has been named the Secretary of the Ministry of Wildlife and Forest Resources Conservation. A.C. Mohammed Nafil was appointed as the Secretary of the Ministry of Water Supply and Estate Infrastructure. WPP Yasaratna has been appointed as the Secretary of the Ministry of Public Administration, Home Affairs, Provincial Councils and Local Government, while Saman Darshan Pandikorala takes on the role of the Secretary of the Ministry of Irrigation. BKP Chandrakirti was appointed as the Secretary to the Ministry of Environment, while Dr. Sulaksha Jayawardena was appointed as the Secretary to the Ministry of Power and Energy. Engineer Ranjit Rupasinghe was appointed as Secretary to the Ministry of Transport and Highways, and Dr. Dharmasri Kumaratunga was appointed to the post of Secretary, Ministry of Technology. Furthermore, President Wickremesinghe appointed RMWS Samaradivakara as the Chief Secretary of the North Central Province, while SLDK Vijay Singha was appointed to the post of Chief Secretary of the Western Province. These appointments mark a significant restructuring of key positions in the government. The President's senior advisor on national defense and chief of presidential staff, Sagala Ratnayake, says that the younger generation has to achieve a decisive role in facing the environmental challenges. He stresses that Sri Lanka must achieve a leading role in minimizing the global climatic changes. Sagala Ratnayake also praises the commitment of a young community for environmental conservation. He made these remarks at a ceremony held in the Presidential Secretariat yesterday to felicitate young leaders for their service rendered to the country. 23 young leaders were felicitated at this ceremony organized by the Leo Club. Chief prefects and vice prefects of selected schools, chairpersons of International Leo Society, secretaries and a number of officials were also honored for their leadership skills. Delivering the keynote address, Sagala Ratnayake elaborated on the evolution of social services carried out by the young generation in the country from the past to the present. He also stresses the decisive role of the young generation in facing environmental challenges. He also elaborated on the opportunities that Sri Lanka can exploit in the renewable energy sector. He also explained the President's vision for green and modern economy. The government is committed to implement a correct program to have sustainable development in the country. Sagala Ratnayake also praised the Leo Society for actively obtaining the service of younger generation for the advancement of country's well-being. He also expressed his gratitude to the principals and the officials of the education sector for helping such social welfare programs. Minister Kanchana Wijesekara, Chairman and Director General of the National Youth Services Council, Pasinda Gunaratna, and a number of International Leo Society representatives were present at this occasion. Presidential Senior Advisor on National Security and Chief of Presidential Staff Sagala Ratnayake emphasized the need for swift policy decisions regarding the transfer of government apartment complexes, home ownership to citizens through freehold deeds. He disclosed plans for an upcoming discussion chaired by President Ranil Wickremesinghe with relevant line institution officials to address existing challenges and establish a clear agreement. This was disclosed during a morning discussion at the Presidential Secretariat today, focusing on issues arising in the transfer of ownership. Following President Wickremesinghe's directive, the aim is to grant freehold deeds to 8,351 houses in 2024, with discussions delving into concerns about land ownership.
Is COVID back in action? Is what some people are asking. Now, consultant Dr. Samitha Ginige says that the new JN1 COVID virus that is spreading in some countries at present is a variant of the Omicron virus itself. However, it's low-risk virus compared to the COVID-19 virus. Therefore, he requests the public not to have unnecessary fear for this virus. Consultant Dr. Samitha Ginige says that the World Health Organization has released a report on this JN1 new virus highlighting its low risk for humans as a COVID variant. He said therefore people should not have panic over the situation. There is no vulnerability in spreading this virus in the country. However, there may be respiratory ailments among the public due to spread of such viruses.
The Presidential Secretariat has opted to cease the maintenance of the itukama.lk website initially employed for awareness and fundraising during the COVID-19 pandemic. Following the successful containment of virus, the website's operation concluded on the 28th of October 2022. Presently, only a record of advertisements and fund related to it is available on the site. Given the dormant status of the website, there is a risk of its name being exploited by unauthorized parties. Consequently, the Presidential Secretariat has issued a cautionary notice advising the public to remain vigilant against potential misuse.
Police media spokesman SSP Nihal Taldua says that assets and vehicles worth over 2.9 billion rupees have been taken into police custody since the initiation of police operation Yuktya up to now. Now, during the raids conducted today only, assets worth over 1.34 billion rupees were taken to police custody. Police media spokesman SSP Nihal Taldua says that a two-story building used as a massage center in Hikkaduwa has been taken into police custody by the Illegal Property Investigation Division. Two tourist bungalows at Mahamodar area in Gaul were also acquired by the police. These buildings are of 1.34 billion rupees market value. Bambalapitiya police were able to seize a number of motorcycles worth over 12 million rupees. A suspect was arrested in Thalapatpitiya Temple Road area with 3 robbed motorcycles and 8 number plates. Another motorcycle hidden in a house at Gaul area was discovered by the police with 6 motorcycle number plates. A suspect was taken into custody in this connection. In addition, several robbed motorcycles were seized from Cinnamon Gardens, Bambalapitiya, Fort, Peta, Valikada and Maharagama police divisions. Acting IGP Deshabandhu Tennakone inspected the seized vehicles this morning. Police and the army jointly conducted a special search operation in Cinnamon Gardens police area this morning. A number of suspects have been arrested from Hatevatta, Pidalivatta and several other areas. Police also discovered several conch shells and substances suspected to be narcotics. The drug dealer in Mathugama, Valipanne Jackia, was also arrested yesterday with 20 grams of heroin in his possession. He is said to be a drug kingpin in the Mathugama area. 19 more suspects related to drugs were arrested in Ambagasduwa area in Uvaparnagama. Police have also taken a stock of heroin and cannabis. A special search operation was carried out in the Modar police area in Colombo this morning. 2 suspects connected to 10 cases of drugs were taken into custody. Police say 19 more persons were taken into custody for questioning. A raid was conducted in Vilgoda housing complex in Kurunagala. Police have arrested 8 suspects with drugs, ice and cannabis. A close ally of Angoda Lokka, Tilina Maduranga alias Miniolua, has been arrested in Gottatu police area this morning. During the search operation conducted near government schools in Gottatu area, 5 drug dealers and 8 suspects with drugs in their possession were taken into police custody. A special operation was also carried out within the Kotahena police area today. Police educated the 3-wheel drivers and shop owners in the area on dangerous drugs. A leading drug smuggler at Bemmulla area in Gampaha was arrested with an asset over 30 million rupees, 2 buses, 2 lorries, 3 3-wheelers, 5 motorcycles and several more properties have been taken into police custody during a raid conducted in Gampaha this morning. Police conducted an operation with drone technology at Kiulapiti area in Kudaoya police division. They have found a 1.5-acre cannabis cultivation and over 35,000 plants. A suspect of 42 years have been arrested. A woman who was selling heroin in the guise of a man was arrested this morning with 90 grams of drugs and 3 mobile phones in her possession. A 3-wheeler was also being seized by the police. She is suspected to be a drug distributor under the notorious drug smuggler Kudu Anju of Ratmalana. Acting IGP Deshabandhu Tennakone said that the police has been accused of arresting only drug addicts and small-scale drug dealers for a long time. However, police has been able to arrest top-level drug smugglers under this operation. They have earned a huge amount of money and property through drug smuggling.
Special transport services are in place from today for the convenience of the increasing number of commuters during the long weekend and the festive season. Special buses and train services are also added in addition to the normal services. These services will commence from today to the 26th of this month. Special train will run at 7:30 p.m. from Colombo Fort to Badulla. Another special train leaves Badulla at 5:20 p.m. during this period except on the 26th. Another train leaves Badulla at 7:45 a.m. to Colombo Fort on the 24th, 26th, 28th and 31st of this month. Special train will run at 4 a.m. from Kandy to Badulla tomorrow and on the 25th of this month. The same train will come back to Kandy from Badulla at 10:45 a.m. on the 24th and 25th of this month. Deputy General Manager of Transport at Railway Department, N.J. Indipolage, said that the intercity express train runs from Colombo Fort to Kankasanthore at 5:30 a.m. daily until the 6th of January. It leaves the Kankasanthore station at 1:15 p.m. to Colombo Fort back. President of the Lanka Private Bus Owners Association, Gamanu Vijayratna, said that additional buses will be deployed from today for the convenience of the public who intend to go for their native areas. More buses will be added to the service as per the request made by the National Transport Commission. Now, in a crucial meeting held yesterday at the President's office, President Secretary Saman Ekanaka issued clear directives to relevant authorities to expedite the implementation of agricultural modernization program, emphasizing the need for tangible outcomes and avoiding interruptions seen in previous agricultural initiatives. The President Secretary urged comprehensive guidelines for effective execution. Addressing provincial heads, district heads and leaders of 26 selected divisional secretariat divisions involved in the program, Ekanaka highlighted a proactive approach to swiftly address any challenges that may arise during the program's implementation. He assured that issues would be promptly communicated to the relevant line agencies for resolution, revealing strategic decisions. At the national level, Ekanaka disclosed plans to establish an Agricultural Innovation Secretariat Office. This office, alongside the committee led by President Ranil Wickremesinghe and involving Prime Minister and Ministry Secretaries, will serve as a hub for agricultural modernization knowledge and services. Local agriculture committees are expected to play a pivotal role in this setup. The President's directive on legal drafts for private sector involvement in the program was underscored, demonstrating a commitment to broad-based collaboration. The initiative will harness the capabilities of 8 main ministries and will be executed in 26 regional secretariats.
Now, a discussion was held yesterday at the BMICH with regard to the temporary suspension of the acquisition and asset and properties of Sri Lanka businessmen by banks and financial institutions. The Sri Lanka business community had to face many serious problems owing to the collapse of economy following the COVID pandemic. A large number of businessmen pawned their assets and properties and obtained loans from banks and finance companies to continue their business activities. Many businessmen have failed to redeem their assets and properties with the given time period. Therefore, banks and finance companies are taking measures to acquire such properties under the Parate Law. At this discussion held under patronage of Minister Dr. Vijaydas Rajapaksa, measures were discussed to temporarily suspend the Parate Law and to give them some concession and legal protection. They also discussed the problem faced by the business community due to the increase of VAT. Minister Dr. Ramesh Patirana, a number of government officials and a group of business community were present at this occasion. Minister Dr. Vijaydas Rajapaksa said that this is a law that comes under Roman Dutch legal system. This is not active even in Roma, Holland. The Parate Law was only enforced by 3 state banks during that time. However, this law is improperly used by private banks and finance companies as well at present. Many finance companies and entities have cropped up in large numbers at present. Owners of these companies act in an arbitrary manner to exploit the business community, misusing this law.
Now, Minister Dr. Ramesh Patirana says that support of all relevant stakeholders is necessary to control dengue menace, as it is a multilateral affair activity. Awareness programs should be carried out for the general public and their support should be obtained to have effective results in controlling dengue problem. The minister made these remarks monitoring several dengue control programs held in a number of areas. Cleaning programs Cleaning programs were carried out in several areas in the Western Province. The Health Minister inspected several special dengue control programs implemented in the Valpola and Kalapaluava Grama divisions in the Bathramulla MOH area. These cleaning programs were carried out in those areas as a significant number of dengue cases were reported there recently. The health officials inspected a large number of households, work sites, religious places and state institutions during this initiative. 8 teams were participating in the field inspection. Drone technology was also used to spray insecticides in the areas where manual laborers are unable to access.
And now we get into some more local news items in brief. Bangladesh has donated a stock of 24 varieties of essential medicine to Sri Lanka. It was handed over to Minister Dr. Ramesh Patirna yesterday by Bangladesh High Commissioner Tariq Islam. The stock is worth over $1 million. Renovation of Ganegore Bridge over Possalioya in Paduk and development of the Kuda Palam in Possalioya Avenue were initiated by State Minister Janaka Vakkumbara yesterday. A sum of over 1.74 billion rupees have been allocated for these two projects. Malavita Podiappuhamin Kegol, who is considered as the eldest person in the country, has passed away. He was 108 years at the time of his death. He has 5 children and 40 grandchildren. Funeral was taken place this evening.
Now, a media briefing was held in Colombo yesterday to inform the media regarding the success of programs organized by the Russian Cultural Center this year. It was held under the patronage of Russian Ambassador in Sri Lanka, Levan Shegarian.
The Russian ambassador, as a Russian diplomat, I always refrain from commenting on your domestic issues, not to be criticized for interference into your domestic affairs. I'm not American ambassador, I'm not British High Commissioner, I'm not other Western diplomat. I refrain from commenting on once again your domestic issues. And just what we can do, we try to be helpful. And just I would like to say that we are going to waiting for a vessel which will bring vegetable oil to Sri Lanka. We expected it in December. Unfortunately, due to some weather conditions, there is a sort of delay. It will arrive in the coming days, maybe in the beginning of January, some 117 tons. It's our contribution to WFP, the World Food Program. After coming here, I just raised this issue in many meetings when we expressed our readiness to start discussions to set up small nuclear power plant, just 110 megawatts. 2 blocks, both floating and maybe on the soil. And my message, my key point was that you need alternative source of power. Don't rely only on coal, don't rely only on just LNG or whatever, on wind. Look, climate changes. By the way, we have very good and fruitful cooperation with your neighboring countries, not only with Bangladesh, Rupur, with India, with Iran. So Rosatom is number one. But it's up to your government, it's your sovereign decision. You have the right to choose, it's up to you. Russia is officially it's number 2 in terms of tourism because Indians are number 1. You also, a lot of Russians coming here to Colombo Katonayaki Airport, to Mattala Airport, a lot of Azur Air and Aeroflot coming here to Colombo, and Red Wings coming to Mattala. And we expect by next February, 200,000 tourists will come here, total number. And Russians enjoy their presence in Sri Lanka. Tea is very popular in my country, Sri Lankan tea especially. It's a main item of export to my country, and you have very famous trade brands of tea. For example, one of them is Basilur tea, which is very popular in my country. There are also some other brands also very popular, and we have also other goods which can be exported to Russia, for example, garments, rubber, but tea is the most important.
Both in cultural life and in the scientific circles, together we did a lot of interesting projects. This year, not only we conducted the Russian language courses in Colombo, but we decided to go to expand our territory, to expand our geography of teaching Russian language. And one of the biggest highlights of what we did was opening a Russian language course for tourist police officers in Gaul in June this year. And 25 police officers successfully passed the Russian test. That is a big deal. Now those officers can speak. We have launched a Russian language unit at the oldest historical university of Sri Lanka, the University of Parate. And you know that every year the Russian Federation allocates scholarships, free scholarships for Sri Lankan students. They have been doing this since 1960, and the Russian higher education has always been traditionally popular among Sri Lankan people. A lot of prominent Sri Lankan people who we all know in the government sector, in the medical sector, they have all studied in Russia or the USSR, and they are still very, very grateful for the opportunity that our country gave them. And I'm glad to tell you that this year we have raised the number of free scholarships to 50 and maybe even to 80. Talking about Russian universities, I am very glad that a lot of Russian universities are actually showing great interests in coming to Sri Lanka and in introducing themselves, presenting themselves in Sri Lanka. With the help of Alexandra Shalaginova, who is always also dealing with the Russian universities now, she is doing a great job in this sector. We have partnered with 20 big federal universities in Russia during this year.
That's all the news we have from home. We'll be back with international news after this break.
Prima Kutumi, Fantamai.
Pakistan's Supreme Court granted bail to former Prime Minister Imran Khan in a case related to an alleged leak of state secrets.
The 71-year-old former cricket star has been embroiled in a tangle of political and legal battles since he was ousted as Prime Minister in April last year. He has not been seen in public since he was jailed for 3
of Youth Services Rupavahini Challenge Trophy volleyball tournament will be held tomorrow.
These matches are scheduled to be telecast live through the national television. The event, jointly organized by the Ministry of Sports and Youth Affairs, National Youth Services Council, the Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation and the Sri Lanka Youth Association, is being conducted for the 35th occasion. Putlam and Kegol district teams have qualified for the women's final match, which will begin at 1 p.m. Gampaha and Putlam districts teams have qualified for the men's final, which will begin at 3 p.m. The final matches will be played at the Youth Services Council Indoor Stadium in Maharagama. The Bloomfield team won a match against Panadura team in the B segment of the Inter-Club League cricket tournament organised by the Sri Lanka Cricket.
The match was played at Bloomfield grounds in Colombo. Batting first, Panadura team scored 130 runs all out, 39.1 overs. Heshan Ramanayaka scored 57 runs. In bowling, Shamath Vikramasinghe claimed 4 wickets for 19 runs. In reply, Bloomfield team passed the victory target in 41.2 overs. Lahiru Madhushanka scored not out 41 runs. RCC team won another match against Kurunegala team played in the PSS cricket grounds in Colombo. Batting first, RCC team scored 296 runs for 8 wickets in their 50 overs. Janit Lianage scored 126 runs and Nishan Madhushanka scored not out 84. In reply, Kurunegala team only scored 158 runs all out in 37.1 overs. Navin Fernandez scored 63 runs. Janindu Lianage claimed 5 wickets for 29 runs. In another match played in the SSC grounds in Colombo, SSC team recorded 86 runs win against Ace Capital cricket team. Batting first, SSC team 262 runs all out in 49.5 overs. Sharit Asalanka scored 64 runs. In reply, Ace Capital were all out for 176 runs in 38 overs.
Wishing you a joyful Christmas from Prima.
That's all the news we have for tonight. Join us tomorrow at the same time for the Valley Daters on Channel I. I'm Delanjali, together with Shivan, signing off. Good night.